they never brought up my name before, right? When Usman was champion, they never brought up my name. When Demetrius Johnson, all these guys, they act like they didn't know who I was. Now you know who I am. Now you're gonna have to watch tape on me and figure out what I am. And then even when like Izzy was his breakdown at the end, because he picked Leon before the fight, but he was during his watch party. He was like, "Oh man, I love this guy. This guy's good. He's a beast." So it's always cool when you have like champions that look at you and watch you. But it's always funny when these so-called experts did their breakdown beforehand. Like, oh man, he sucks here. He's slow here. His stand-up is sucks here. Leon's gonna pick him apart super easily. And I was like, all right, we'll find out. We'll see. Keep that same energy after the fight.
So you're not gonna fight Volkanovski?
His is weird, right? Because we had the watch party. It was the UFC watch party, and then the UFC lady was like, we have other watch parties, so we could call one of them. And it was like Bobby Green. We called him, FaceTimed him for the watch party. He was like smoking weed and stuff. Then they were like, we have Wonder Boy and Volkanovski. And I just like fought Wonder Boy. So I said, let me call Volkanovski. And he called and he like ignored the call. So I just like tweeted out like, oh, Max Holloway won. You suck, Volk. And then he like ended up calling back. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up, Volk? Hey, man, just forget about Twitter, man. It was just joking around. But it was all a joke and fun. Yeah. But the guy's weird. But I'm like, bro, if he wants to smoke, what is he, 5'1" welterweight, come up.
And I'm sure you've heard Colby Covington's comments. Interesting thing he said. He said, Belal's never mentioned my name until I was booked to fight Leon. Yeah, I remember 2017. Where was it? Where did he play? Somewhere abroad.
I was in Australia.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
I was in Australia when he got hit with the boomerang.
Okay. And, so what do you think of Colby Covington and his comments?
He's a joke, right? Like literally everything he says is a joke. What is he? He's 0-3 in title fights. All I needed was one time to do it. You'll never touch the gold. You'll never be who I am. And just keep talking, bro. Just keep that. You said keep that same energy when I see you, please. I beg you, let me see you. I beg you, let me see you in public. Because, bro, unless he like actually fights maybe the other guys, he's not gonna get another shot. But I mean, I hope he goes on a good run, beats some of these contenders, and figures a way out to fight me in the cage. But I mean, all you gotta do is find me at a steakhouse, and we'll see if you keep that same energy.
And I know you and Kamaru Usman have been going back and forth. Now, you have goals of becoming the greatest welterweight of all time. Kamaru is considered one of the greats, but he's also on a 3-fight losing streak. So it's tough. I guess it's a tough sell for him to be a next contender. I know we've got Shavkat, and you said you're down to fight him. But is Kamaru someone you hope you get to fight down the line? Like maybe if he rebounds and wins his next fight?
For sure. I mean, I think, did Colby get a title fight off of 2 losses or off of a loss? I mean, for Kamaru, he's up there with GSP, right? Even Dana White says I think he's a better welterweight than GSP. So for my legacy and for my name, he was always a guy that I looked at and I always thought I could beat before Leon did it. And I was like, I want to fight him. I want to fight him. So I mean, it's fun because he's giving you that smoke back and forth too. And I like build-ups like that. So it's always cool. But yeah, of course, if he ends up getting back in the mix or his name gets thrown at me, I would never turn it down because he is up there with the greatest welterweights. And for myself, building my legacy to beat the GSP and be right next to him or even above him, I'd have to beat him, Shavkat, and Ian Gary, JDM. Like, I'm ready to fight all these guys. There's not a guy that I ever turn on a fight with, and the UFC knows that.
It seems like Shavkat is kind of the name that everyone's throwing. Do you see anybody else in the rankings that it could be? Do you think it's going to be Shavkat, or do you imagine that it could be somebody else?
No, I mean, I see it being Shavkat. I think if he would have fought JDM, he would have been like 100% clear contender. But I think the fact that they were almost close to booking him and JDM, that people were hesitant on it. But I think for me, he's the boogeyman that they all say is the next guy. And I think between all the guys, it'd be between him and honestly Usman, just because of Usman's legacy and who he is as one of the welterweight best. But yeah, for me, Dana just got to call me and let me know, and I'm just gonna say, all right, cool.
And one final one, I know Makhachev joked, he's like, you killed his double champ plans. I know you guys probably won't fight each other, but when you see that, I mean, obviously you and Isam, like, you've trained together. He's talking about being a little bit bored, maybe because he doesn't want to rematch Arman Tsarukyan. What do you think should be next for Makhachev? Because Arman seems like the clear-cut contender, right? Yeah. And he said, he acknowledges that, but what do you think should be next for Isam? And when you think about your run, like I mentioned the big names, the Colbys, the Kamarus, I'm sure those are tempting, but you also said you want to be kind of an active champion and fight all the next contenders. So
Yeah.
do you think about it now that you are champion? Do you think about, okay, these are big money fights? Like, what's your mentality going?
Yeah, you look at that and you see it, but honestly, like the big money fights that are in the division, they're all lost, right? Like Colby sucks. Usman, like he's at a point now where he's 0-3, and but him, he just needs, I think, one win, and people respect him getting a title shot or expect him to get the title shot off of that. But other than that, it's like if McGregor goes to 170 after beating Chandler, there's not really that big money fight that you would think about. But there is the legacy fights, right? The guys. All right, if I take Shavkatov, if I take Ian Garryzo, I take JDM undefeated in the UFC. So all those guys got O's I could take, and those are going to be worth it for myself. But yeah, I mean, for Islam, it is hard, right? Because obviously, I think he would have walked through Leon as well. But like I also said, I think he walks through Duplessis. He could literally go up to 185, and I think he'll walk through him. But the Arman fight makes the most sense right now for him. The hard part is what's next after that, like you said, because he just beat Poirier. I mean, Chandler and McGregor, one of them guys get that win. If McGregor ends up winning and fighting him, that'd be a huge fight, right? That'd be a big money fight for him, and that'd be a fun fight. But there's, stuff always ends up happening, right? There's going to be that guy that ends up popping out through the mix, and you're like, oh, well, that makes sense now.
Right.